out of here. Okay, great. So I am so excited, people. For the first time, I am streaming right through Zoom and we'll have better quality and better video. I sent out in the letter to you all today for the email reminder about thunderstorms in our area, and if the power or the internet goes down and we are in the middle of the healing, just keep intending it in your silence and know it's going forward. If it should happen before we get to the sound healing, then we'll probably reschedule. But my inside connections are telling me we're going to be good to go. Okay, so welcome. This is Dr. Wendy Rowley. I'm very excited to be on Zoom, streaming live, and this is the Great Global Healing Party Lionsgate event. Okay, I have to talk a little slower because there is a little bit of a stream's current bit rate is lower than recommended. Okay, I hope that is not a problem for you all. We'll just go forward. Okay, so if you are new to the Great Global Healing Party, let me give you a quick update of what we know so far from this event series. We know that this is a 3-year event doing setups for the beginning of healing abilities for the human consciousness grid, to get that ability up and running, to begin some healing, to make some upgrades, and to receive and share some gifts at the halfway point of the 3 years of this Great Global Healing Party. We know this is related to the 3-year increase of the divine feminine energy that began with work by our friends on the other side of the veil who are bringing this Great Global Healing Party work forward. And they said the divine feminine was increasing in 2024, 2025, and 2026, and that it was percolating from the noosphere, or the collective consciousness around the periphery of our planet, down into the white gold healing layer that it is in this year. Next year, and it's already on its way there, it'll percolate into the blue-green healing layer, and it'll be online for us at our aura and higher self and individual interface in January of 2027. We know the divine intelligence of the creative source has sent what's called the integration energy into this area between the white-yellow consciousness healing layer and the blue-green healing layer. And this is brand new. This has just happened within the last several months. The integration energy is one of the creational rays, and it's got some purpose there to bring in some profound healing and upgrades for us at the time of this great shift. Let's see, see where I am. I've got notes because I don't want to forget anything. Okay, so this area between the white gold consciousness healing layer, working down to us in the material layer, and the blue-green, more body healing layer, is a very interesting area. I also want to add, sorry, I lost my place here. We know that this integration energy is going into that space in between. I'm going to talk about that a little farther down. We know that this work, along with other people doing juicy grid work, is enabling a 50-year fast-track quantum entanglement window in which to fast-track heal the human consciousness grid. Now, the human consciousness grid, for those who don't know it, is around the periphery of our planet. It was identified long ago by a fellow named Teilhard de Chardin, and he described it as being our collective human consciousness. And then there's many people that have elaborated more about that. And I work with Aliania of Cosmic Service, a Palladian mother of sound, and she has brought in a lot of information about the noosphere that's quite fascinating. Okay, so uh, we know that we're moving from a trifold consciousness into a single unity consciousness as humans upon the earth. We also know that at the Great Shift, there's a return of women's resplendence, and that women heal their low self esteem in their unique, woman only heart pain body that is in the heart field on this human consciousness grid. So there's a new channeling on woman's resplendence that just went up on the Wonder of Human Design website in the page called the Heart Tones. The links to that will be in the comments section below. They should be, or they will be put there shortly. And there are also links on the Wonder of Human Design YouTube channel. There's more about women's resplendence in some of the YouTube playlists and the Wonder of Human Design monthly wisdom free channels where you get some current and new upcoming information. The links to that are also in the comment section. I thought this was a great place to bring up an aside. Aliania says that we are mostly two sexes throughout our evolution, as it is a system that serves this process. Oh, in case I forgot that thought, the human consciousness grid is basically our collective creations of our ancestral history and our benevolent creations of large family complexes, tribes, and nations of our history. It's where we created together. So let's go back to that other thought now. Sorry about that. I just wanted to be thorough because I tried to explain that twice and went off. Okay, so we're mostly these two sexes through most of evolution, and that serves this process of Earth. We become androgynous again at the end when we become quite enlightened way down the road. She says that we will be swinging between male and female lifetimes faster now. It's fascinating. In healing work, at one point I discovered a band in the quantum entanglement of our spiritual energy anatomy that's sort of off of the central column between there and your spine, and that it is a transition band between morphing from one sex to another in a incarnation, based on the assumption that we have a system on Earth where we have multiple incarnations of our soul through our higher self. So it was fascinating to find that, and also Edgar Cayce, another American seer and prophet who lived up to about 1941, has a lot of very, very wonderful health readings, and people have studied them and looked at the medical readings and said they are just amazingly accurate, and it's clearly beyond any human's level of understanding, because he channeled that information. So he says it usually takes several lifetimes to fully infuse over to that opposite sex. So let's say I've had many lifetimes as a male, and then I'm starting into that female energy, and over several lifetimes I become very comfortable in my new female energy and being in a female body. So I thought that was really fascinating, because when I found this band, this transition band between changing sexes between lifetimes, it was filled with mental and emotional feelings and complexes that sound so much like those trying to find a voice today, who feel this transition band energy and are maybe moving through it. And it also makes me wonder that maybe this band's gotten very lit up with the changes that are going on, a lot of what Aliania speaks about and the work that I'm bringing forward, and many, many others who are bringing work in during the Great Shift. So I just thought I would share that, because understanding creates compassion, and that just seemed like a nice thing to share, because that definitely opened my heart to greater understanding once I sort of looked at that and put those things together. Okay, so that's the recap. So let's go into a little more detail. for newbie people who will find this video. There's always a channeling on the Great Global Healing Party website about the healing event that is coming in. I have a feeling no, okay. Sorry, I thought I forgot something. I must be ahead. Because I have a lot to say today and I have to put notes down. These usually run for about an hour, these events, just so you know. Okay, so before an event, usually try to get it at least 2 weeks ahead, depending on my schedule. There's usually a channeling about the Great Global Healing Party event. And we know there's 5 of these a year, and we have 3 years of these. So they're put up on the website, and you can always go there to get more detailed information. One of the things that we do know that is happening in this event is there's going to be a Christ healing pathway upgrade in this galactic portal. And this is going to affect what's called so this is what we're doing today. I'm sort of back into this event. This will affect sorry, I'm kind of excited, and I think I'm starting to go off in like a starburst into a lot of directions. Because I can feel the energy for this event is quite large. Anyway, so this new Christ healing pathway or new upgrade of it will affect the galactic portal interim energy. So in between that white, yellow consciousness healing band coming down from the collective group toward our individual higher self, off of the collective and the human consciousness grid and percolating down. And in between that blue-green layer and the white-yellow layer is this interim band that we were talking about, where a lot of these upgrades are happening, that integration energy has come into, and that this Christ healing pathway is going to basically affect the energy of the birth and death bardo, because that is one of the energies and spaces and dimensions and quantum entanglements, and however you want to describe these things, that is within this space. So apparently from this Lionsgate forward, there's going to be an ability to now heal in the end-of-life bardo or death bardo going forward after the Lionsgate for the first time. For those who don't know, the death bardo and birth bardo are known about in Oriental medicine, and they're spoken about, and it's considered, after you pass or before you're born, a 3-day window that your soul travels through to then percolate into an incarnation into a body. And it's got a lot of juicy energy in there that needs healing. And we're able to, now we're going to get at some very profound things that are in those layers. So another thing that's in this event, in the June Great Global Healing Party, there was the beginning of the giving of gifts, both live and in the recording. So for people who listened to the event afterwards on YouTube but weren't at the live recording, they can still intend to have that gift should they wish for it. So I believe, if I remember, I can't remember what we did in June right now, but we're having 2 gifts in this Lionsgate. I think it was, I don't know, Ali and you will bring it up if it's important. It's in the June Solstice thing. In this August Lionsgate event, we're getting 2 gifts. And these gifts are shared between people. In other words, someone has come to this event and their soul has a particular quality or gift or capability or soul sense or something, and they can share it with the group. And I began to see this happening between smaller groups back in 2024, I think it was. So that's an interesting thing. Okay, I'm just checking my notes. Okay, thanks. So one of the gifts that we're going to get is an ability to know, and this is for women, at the woman's intuitive level, that you are working with Christ healing force. So this particular gift is for women. because of the need for upgrading women's resplendence. And so women need a little bit more intuition, and the Christ healing force is quite prevalent in the grid healing and whatever's going on in them, if they're a healer or shaman or worker or whatever. But women are being sort of brought back up to where they were. There's explanations for why that is, even in that new Resplendence channel on the Wonder of Human Design page of the heart tones that I just mentioned earlier. Okay, so the second gift is something unique and new that's happening. Apparently, there's certain situations where in order to receive something, because of something to do with divine intelligence, you have to be at a live event. And Aliani says there's another gift in this particular event which is of that nature. So only those who come to this live event, which is 19 people, it might be more, I don't know, there's delayed things there, but only they will be receiving this gift, and unfortunately it won't be there for those in the recording, and I'm sorry for that. It's, don't shoot the messenger. It's just the way it is. And I believe in 2026 there might be another one of these types of things. So Allie and Ann wouldn't even tell me what it is. So she's going to come in and explain that, as she tends to do after we do the healing, or sometimes before. So that's something that's coming. And the final thing I'd like to say about this particular healing event is it's a major turning point in human evolution, says Aliania. She says the 50-year window of fast-track healing begins in 2027 to move along the great shift in grace. And there's a little bit more understanding about that, about the next thing she asked me to share. So sometimes I share things that I've seen, but sometimes she gives me specific things to share with you. Okay, she asked me to share this. I have sort of just started to see this and work through this. Up at the collective consciousness of the noosphere, there's a large consciousness bubble. And she says they're calling it the news bubble. And she says the news bubble is the ability to work in the human consciousness. Oh, she said it's the news bubble. And she says the news bubble is the ability to work in the human consciousness grid consciousness ball. She says this ball has complexes between the ancestral energy, the human consciousness grid, and what's called the interim Christ grid. This will all be on the tape, so don't, breathe, don't get it, oh my gosh, this is all so new and I can't keep up, and it's all there. And so like an astrologer will give astrology terminology to help you understand, maybe some people have studied that, I'm kind of using the spiritual anatomy that is so amazing, that's why I call it the wonder of our human design, as a metaphor to describe our sacredness and our connection. And apparently, once Aliania showed up, that works for them too. And so I keep bringing out this rather intense, very esoteric information about our spiritual energetic anatomy and what's changing in it. So I might appeal to some people, not all. So I try to give something for everyone here, for the healers and shamans, for those who are interested in that, for plain people on just what's going on and why do things feel so wiggy, and for those who just want the healing. Okay, so back to the subject of the news ball. So the interim Christ grid is the lower heart karmic level. The human consciousness grid is the ancestral heart level. And what is called the Christ grid is the healing level. Okay, so I'm going to show you a picture and explain something, because usually a picture is worth 1,000 words. But this picture is a metaphor. Don't think of it as exactly how the energy works, but it's a way to help just sort of explain it. So first I'm going to show you the old paradigm and maybe explain the grids for those who don't understand. And I'm assuming you all can see this properly. Okay, so this represents, oh, my hand is shaking. This represents the noosphere, or the outer band of the galactic around the periphery of the planet. So your soul comes in and you hook into the field with a capital F, and that's the place of supreme beings, benevolence, and wonderful creational energy. And people say that's what you feel when you pass. Aliania said that too. When you feel that love of the Creator after you pass from your body. 3 seconds of fear, they say, and 3-4 seconds of fear, and then just boom, right into that. So that's where we hook in when we come into the planet. And we have the Christ grid is considered the mastery grid, and all the wisdom of all the masters who have ever walked the earth is there. And I have a feeling there's a lot more there. And that's called the soul mastery grid. So the interim Christ grid, the middle one, is what Aliane is now saying is our lower heart karmic level. And then that's the human consciousness grid with all that ancestral heart level. And used to be a lower karmic akash, but that's been dropped away, or is dropped away, or is about to be dropped away, which happens at the Great Shift. So now we're just having the heart levels to heal. That's a big transition. So in the previous paradigm, healing used to come through your soul, through the interim Christ grid, over to the human consciousness grid, and back out. But let's take a look at the new paradigm. I'm going to have to do this so I don't completely cover my face so I can see the screen. So in the new paradigm, let me just look for a sec, which way I'm going. Yeah, so in the new paradigm, oops, I've cut the words out. But let's say this is the Christ grid, interim grid, human consciousness grid. It's now going to, and there's been all these connections that have been made between all these grids now. The new healing paradigm with this new Christ into the galactic portal, Lionsgate area, through the interim space between the white, gold, white, yellow, and blue-green healing layers that we're talking about, where that death bardo or end-of-life bardo is, and the galactic portal is, and gateways to the ancestral energy on the human consciousness grid are, there is a new paradigm of healing. And now the healing comes down through the Christ grid, goes over to the interim Christ grid, loops or goes to the human consciousness grid, goes back to the interim Christ grid, loops around it, back to the human consciousness grid, and up and out. That is a profound change. I hope I explained that clearly. So I'm just going to say it in words. Healing used to come in the interim Christ grid, over to the human consciousness grid, and back up. Healing now, after this great global healing party, Lionsgate, comes through the Christ grid, loops through the interim Christ grid to the human consciousness grid, then back into the interim Christ grid, and back to the human consciousness grid, and then from there goes out to the field of the soul group divine intelligence. And this is the new divine intelligence healing pathway. Wow. We all, at the soul level, have been doing a lot of work out at that greater field, where we are used as instruments of evolution. Okay. I wanted to bring this one up personally. I want to put a shout out to any healers or shamans or clairvoyants or energy workers or meditators or people who have a little bit maybe of some clairvoyant sensing or seeing or any of their senses which are able to perceive change. Because everyone works with different combinations of their physical and spiritual and eventually pineal communication system senses. Our senses are amazing. It's how the soul records and perceives. And they go from us all the way out to the soul. It's amazing. So one thing that I've started to notice is that the first chakra is changing. And I'm wondering, has anyone else noticed this in their own clairvoyant work in any way? It looks like it is developing a quantum field around it that is making it no longer just linear, but also quantum. Aliena says upon asking that the first chakra after this event, should you choose all of these gifts and healings, will become both linear on a timeline. So let's explain. You have 7 chakras, they're energy centers, and they are where the spirit body meets the body, and the first interface is through the endocrine glands. So we are basically kind of unmanifested, and we become manifested and dense, and we form all these organs. Okay, so the first chakra of your 7 chakras, there's pictures all over the web, you can find them. These look like moving wheels of light. They keep your energy moving, that information moving. Your energy and your information from your soul is like a fuel and an energy for your body. And those chakras keep it moving unless they get stuck and need healing. So the first chakra of all those chakras, and some people say, well, it goes up to 12 and 24 and blah, blah, blah. But that first of the 7 chakra system is the only chakra on a linear timeline from when you're born till you pass. All your other chakras are multidimensional. So as a clairvoyant, if you want to see someone's timeline, you put them up, you put a line there, you ground them, align them in the present, and you take your energy off them, you give them a little hello, and you imagine that you're only seeing them through the first chakra, and you imagine a timeline, and you watch things go forward through time if you need to see that. All these other chakras are multidimensional and quantum. So this first chakra is having a profound change. So this event will make that first chakra both linear on a timeline, while at the same time in a quantum entanglement state in the new interim connection of the Christ and that integration creational force that is new into the layer between the white gold healing layer and the blue-green healing layer. So, to repeat, this layer, where a lot of these changes seem to be going on in this great shift, is the layer of the birth and death bardo, the galactic gateway of the Lion's Gate, and the ancestral human consciousness grid. This layer is what is upgraded at the great shift to allow the Christ into the death bardo and the change off the old Lemurian death bardo, which is going to happen in 2028, 2029, and 2030. So this is one of the reasons why some people's healing tools will not function as well in 2027 when the new increased divine feminine reaches from the blue-green healing layer of 2026, moving down finally through 2026 into our interim spirit bodies on the human consciousness grid, such that Aliena says in January of 2027, based on some juicy stuff happening through December, it will be online. And all of this is due to the work we do and another camp does to make grid upgrades for all this to happen between now and 2027. She asked me to acknowledge this other camp, so here we go. I would like to acknowledge the camp of another work doing work. Work for all of this. I have on the website of the Wonder of Human Design something called the Heart Tones. In truth, these are the ancient Lemurian women's tones of healing, and they are used at the Great Shift for women to return to resplendence and heal the heart field of the human consciousness grid, among some other things. And these tones are part of another set of ancient Lemurian tones called the Tones of Evolution, which have been used by Dr. Todd Ovakaitis to work the grids in his pineal tone choirs beginning in 2012, even up to now with an event in San Diego this December around the time of the solstice. I've done all of these. They're very juicy. So something is also changing after the Great Global Healing Party Lions Great Upgrade. The ability for groups to come together and work in a quantum entangled state begins. So more people via the web can partake in an on-location event and receive the energy work being done on location due to the upgrades done this night in the human consciousness grid. So, Aliene says you're going to see more groups coming together to do profound healing and more groups forming to heal the human consciousness grid, that this call will get louder because we're entering this 50-year quantum entanglement window where we can do large blocks of complexes on this grid. And she says this is purposeful. And she recently set out a channeling, I don't know if it's posted yet, it will be at some point, about giving us the perspective to look at this great shift, not from the perspective of all that's happening on the earth that looks so unrestful, but to look at it from the perspective that the great shift is a blessing and concentrate on all the beauty and the light that's going on behind the scenes. Because we need some people to hold the balance in our human consciousness grid and field. Okay, I think I've gotten through everything. I thought at one point I had information about this was the 9th of, we've got 15 of these healings, and this was the 9th one. And 9 is an energy of old endings and new beginnings. And when I peek ahead at what's happening, and I finally was able to do so for the first time on what might be coming forward in 2026 in these great global healing parties, I would say that's an accurate description for the energy number of this particular great global healing party. So we only have 6 more after this, and that's a beautiful thing. Okay, it's nice to have a beginning and an ending sometimes. Okay, so let me give you a little more information about this particular healing, because something else is different in it. This healing has 6 sections that are healed through. We have our higher self, individual, and this is at the level of our higher self, individual higher self, where it morphs to the group higher self on the human consciousness grid in that interim band between the white gold and blue gold healing layers. So we heal the body and aura layer. We heal the heart. We heal the high heart. We heal the high heart creational, the woman's high heart creational, women's resonance, that's new, and also new is the evolutionary quantum entanglement disk of pre-manifested energy. The evolutionary quantum entangled disk of pre-manifested energy and women's resonance, which maybe we did in June, I don't remember, but those seem like 2 new things to me. Okay, so the evolutionary quantum entanglement disk, what is that? Is the interim Christ grid and is what twists when the interdimensional DNA twists in the central column. So let me explain. Your interdimensional DNA is fascinating. At noon and midnight, the fibers in your interdimensional DNA are aligned in parallel. At 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. in your ancestral energy, they are at a twist. And it is this quantum entanglement disk that allows this twist to happen. So it's a fascinating thing because we are in a planetary body rotating around the sun, living in a galaxy in which there is a galactic cycle, an annual galactic cycle. And within our bodies is an individual 24-hour circadian rhythm cycle that is aligned to that galactic cycle. So, this evolutionary quantum entanglement disk in the interim Christ grid is what twists when the IDA twists in the central column as we move through our day and night, and our spirit body responds with a twisting alignment to the galactic cycle within our individual 24-hour circadian cycle. Just said that a second time so people might hear it a different way. And this is what is upgraded here this night in the Lionsgate portal to allow for the new Christ healing. So Christ healing pathway of the galactic portal. So it sounds like we're getting an upgrade of our evolutionary quantum entanglement disk. And remember, this portal is in the interim space between the blue, green, and the white gold healing layers of our higher selves, and it morphs into our individual higher self, into the group higher self, actual spirit body that we share in the human consciousness grid. So that spirit body is actually, and that's a group higher self, has a lot to do with what we create and how our bodies are formed and what we do in our future based on our group creation together in this planet. It's kind of fascinating. Okay, so from now on, just a little bit more, all the great global healing parties through 2025 until we end in December 2026 will continue to have these 6 healing parts within them. And I will post this in the comment section of every global healing party for those who want to know. Because some people want to know that are healers. Okay, so I've talked particularly long this night. There is a very exciting energy here that I have not felt before. Normally it's felt sort of, I can feel the healing that we're going to do more, but this feels very different. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm going to get out of the way. Now, for those of you who don't know and haven't been to one of these before, I work in sound with Aliania. The sound lends an added dimension for people because we don't have to sit there in silence and go, is it over? And so it gives a little bit more information. It also gives vibrational information that allows some people to feel different things or see different things in their energy fields. And so there's beautiful melodic sounds. And that's the soul forces that's our souls coming into the energy within the interim spirit body, getting ready to do the healing. And you are the master. You give the intention. This is a menu. You can have anything you want. You can have these alignments, you can have these gifts or not. You can just check it out, except for the live gift special one this night, and you can always go back and listen to the tape another time. And there's a lot of things that happen if you go through the series and listen to it all, and I'll speak a little bit about that at the end as a reminder. Okay, so the melodic, beautiful sounds are your soul coming into your spiritual anatomy. And then there's these little funny engine sounds that kind of go brr, brr, brr. And when I make them, if it's in the old Lemurian anatomy, my head has to go back. So what I do, so you don't have to look up my nostrils, which might not be so attractive, is I spin a little bit, I put my head back, and then I let you hear. I tip my head to the microphone and I let you hear. Now, one more thing about sound. Sound for musicians in the Zoom portal works very well, and it picks up all the sound. I hope it does the same thing through YouTube. If you are not hearing sound, just have faith. And know that this Zoom recording with the sound is going to be posted in place of this video from now on, should we really be in a live stream that's working. And my husband said we are, so that's a nice thing. Okay, so what we do for those who are energy workers and want to try to feel their anatomy, or are sensitives or empaths, or all sorts of, there's so many amazing people out there that do all sorts of amazing work. I can't wait to go to an event and see all of us, because we're all so talented, and we all have these different soul gifts and flavors, and every soul is completely unique. And it's time for us to honor each other and celebrate each other, and celebrate each other as women. Okay, so what we do for that, so they can feel these 6 sessions, aura, 3 levels of the heart, the radiance, and the quantum entanglement disc, and the last one is the woman's, I think, if I did that right. Aliania will make a little pause. So we'll have the melodic sound and the engine, and then a little pause. The melodic sound, the engine, a little pause. And that allows some people to know that this healing is moving through the different sections. She usually comes in and gives some information and channeling, and it's time for me to get out of the way and, like you all, be an instrument of evolution, because my soul is the true instrument of the Creator, and I am the creator being of my soul. And they say we are moving from the old paradigm of surrender, which was a paradigm of suffering for the sake of others so that they may learn suffering, and holding an energy longer so that we may all heal together, to one of adaptation. No more suffering. The human consciousness grid suffering is being released over 50 years, as much as we can, depending on how many of us get on board with this. And the new paradigm is adaptation, if I didn't just say that. To know that we are divine, to know that we are connected in very profound ways to the Creator, our souls, the creative source, and this planetary system. That as we go, so goes the earth. Okay, I myself do nothing. I'm going to get out of the way, and I'll see you on the other side. Sorry about that, a little dry. Okay, can't get the engine going, we're a little dry. She needs some water. There we go. Good day to you, dearest beings of light. This is Alienia of Cosmic Service, a Pleiadian mother of sound. This one just went, oh crap, I forgot to record on Zoom, all that talking. Don't worry, it's definitely going to be on YouTube and it'll be fine. Okay. It's nice to know for her so she doesn't have to stress. Okay, so this is Alienia of Cosmic Service, a Pleiadian mother of sound. We work with this one. Long ago, when she was in her 20s in a meditation group, we took her way up to the periphery of the planet, to that noosphere, just below the field, and we showed her the human consciousness grid, and it was lovely. Then we showed her the pain body of the earth, and it showed broken fibers, dark blotchy energies. There was very intense emotion that she could feel related to this. And we put a hand out, we said, this has to be healed. And that was the end of that. And she waited about 34 years. And we showed up again. During your COVID, she was working with a group. She was sort of working with another group that's related to our group. And the one she was familiar with said, it's time for you to meet Alienia. And I came in. And she immediately recognized my vibration as being the one that took her up to the periphery of the planet to show her, which was basically that the human consciousness grid needs to be healed, because just as you have a red pain sheath that a lot of people think is fascia within your spirit body, there is another pain sheath of a collective consciousness of all people on the human consciousness grid. And it is this that is actually healed in the human consciousness grid, just as it is your own pain body that is healed, in your own healing. So, women have a pain body that men do not have. It is a white sheath in the heart layer higher up, and it has never been able to be healed before. This one didn't know we were going here. She's just completely out of the way. Okay, so this white pain body of women is related to women's resplendence. And this pain body was turned on at the end of the Egyptian Renaissance. And women's resplendence was taken up to their soul in the outer field. Why? It's part of the design of the Creator. Women collectively, in their akashas, collected all of the heart field creational pain of humanity in this heart pain body. And it was a sacrifice of women for service. And the purpose was so that during the Great Shift, if humans decided to answer the call and fast-track heal their human consciousness grid, if that appealed to people and they got on board, women could come and fast-track heal this pain body and take back their resplendence, as was and is the design of this planetary system. So the reason that women held this pain is that at the creational level that they have an extra connection to through their divine feminine, there is a very high registration of creation on that interim Christ spirit grid, which is also called the soul creational grid. And you can think of the Christ grid as the soul mastery grid, and the human consciousness grid as the human experiential grid of real-time creating. Another way. So metaphors to describe energies which are real and do exist, but are in multidimensional quantum entanglement states, and a lot of it is behind your current clairvoyant abilities, and a lot of it is not online yet for your future evolution. Of all of your spiritual abilities that you have within the Creator's design for a planetary system, and all those that they were all turned on, you are approximately less than 1/16th of 1/16th turned on. That's how We don't mean to make it sound bad, but that's how unevolved you are from your soul's potential perspective. So you are, in this great shift, actually just beginning the roadway to evolution. And that's a pretty exciting thing. So, women carry this pain body so that that creational level out in the interim Christ grid or the soul creational grid can be healed. Because once that is healed, it actually provides a signal to the collective consciousness and something called the nodes and the nulls. Nodes take away old energy off the grids. Nulls bring in new energy. And it actually sends a signal through all of that to divine intelligence out in the greater field that you are ready for your next steps. So this is how important healing the heart field of the human consciousness grid is for women and for humanity. Because women hold the higher codes of evolution. And women have a connection in divine intelligence out in the greater field directly into the soul group divine intelligence. And that's the design. It doesn't mean women are better. It just means women are wired differently so that this whole system between men and women can have flow. That's another way to look at it. So why are we bringing up all of this here? Because we did a healing of the women's pain body on the human consciousness interface between your individual and higher self of, I'm not good enough for this task, because this one has been suffering from it tremendously over the last 6 months, not feeling worthy of this task. And she knows it is not her task, it is our task. But the self-esteem of women is part of the healing process when you heal the human consciousness grid, heart field, pain body of women. And they return to that self-esteem. So we healed that this day because everyone that came of the women that were here were active in that. That's called resonance. And you all resonate with each other when you do group work. One of the other things that's changing is the ability to feel energy in group work for more people. And so healing events with large groups of people are going to become very juicy. And there's going to be more people having group experience individually within a group experience. That's something to ponder. This one's already got it figured, so we're just going to say it. Your soul comes into that top creative ring. It's unmanifest, and it divides. And part is your I awareness. I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm aware. I'm aware of you. I see you. I'm aware that I don't feel this way. I'm aware that I need this work to be done. I'm aware. It's awareness. It's consciousness. Another part of your soul comes into part of that physical and spiritual overlay anatomy. And some people call it the body innate. Some people call it the file keeper. Some people call it my smart body. There's many names for it. And that is one other part of your soul that you can actually work with in full consciousness. Another part of your soul that you can work with in full consciousness goes to the outer aura of your field that does go through your spirit body. It's just more refined. And that is, this one's starting to think, get out of the way, she caught herself. And that is also something you could work with. And some people call that your Akashic innate, your smart Akash, or your Akashic record keeper. So these are two energies that can be worked with consciously. And so this one's like, oh, I think I'm thinking, get out of the way, just give me a minute. She wants to be pure. Okay, so the thing that the women also bring in on the human consciousness grid when they do this healing work, because this one had mentioned and other things, a lot of which she has no idea, is that they upgrade the eye consciousness relationship to the smart body and the smart Akash body, so that people can have a more profound relationship with their body And what is your aura? It is the information of your higher self's records while on Earth. So you're going to have better access to your own wisdom and information, and you're going to have better access to working in an integrated way with your body, evolving more and more and more and more in the future. And this one's thinking it because she's hearing it coming down from us, because we were about to say it. She has always felt very strongly that the body, evolutionarily, is designed to self-heal. And it is. It's just that's a long way away. But know that is true. Okay, so another reason why we're bringing up women's resplendence is because one of these gifts, the one that she told you about, is in women's resplendence. And so the women that are here are going to get an upgrade to their women's resplendence, and they're going to get an upgrade, should they choose, to their knowing. Now, your knowing's your seventh chakra, and it's like, I know that is true. It's deep internal knowing. It's connected to soul. Some people say it's intuition. It's not. It's higher than that. And your knowing is going to get an upgrade to know that you are working with Christ healing forces. Because Christ healing forces continue to increase into the healing paradigm as you evolve on your planet. And we don't mean the Master Yeshua, who brought in this healing energy in various ways, this great overarching being of a planetary system, because it is a consciousness. And so she's thinking, get out of the way. And so we are talking about a force that provides kind of like a beacon home so that you never get lost. You never lose your way. And it provides a healing energy that can heal different layers and levels that the other regular healing energy can't heal. So there's continued increase in Christ healing abilities and the Christ force as you evolve through a planetary system. And that's the energy we're talking about. And eventually you'll have a new name for that. Potentially in 20 years. Okay, so let's do the first gift. So we're going to go back up. You'll hear it in sound. This one's for the women. And it'll just be melodic sounds and engine sounds. Oh, she wants me to mention, for those who didn't know, when you hear the poof sound, that's just let's say you have a filter, and that filter has a piece of dirt in it, and that piece of dirt represents the stuck, unhealed consciousness that was there, that needs to be let go. The poofs are pictures being released from the from the 8th filter, the 11th filter, and the 17th filter through your individual higher self spirit body through to the group one on the human consciousness grid. And so that's what the poof sounds are. Okay, so we're going to go up, do this for the women for the first gift, and then we're going to come back and we're going to tell you about the second gift. Okay, here we go. This is still Alienia of Cosmic Service. I would like to comment that this one saw the release of the old energy, and she's never seen an activation that fast and upgrade to the new Christ healing knowing for women. And she thought that was very cool. She'd never seen an activation happen that fast. That's because the quantum entanglement disk has changed this night. Okay, so let us talk about the mystery gift. The mystery gift. Okay, this is something that has to be done in a lifetime. When the Creator, through divine intelligence, does something in live time, it is kind of like, it's almost like a quantum entanglement state between a bunch of souls who have had an agreement to come to a particular time and place and bring something in. And the group that's here tonight is that type of group. If you heard the call and you're here, even if you don't know anything about this, trust that your soul kind of gave you what's called the friction of the soul, this feeling like, I got to check this out. I don't know why. So this gift is actually coming from this one. She thought it would be from someone here. And it's in her soul's Akash. And this gift is an ability for both men and women to be able to heal in the universal life of not the evolutionary quantum entanglement disk, but the unmanifested disk, what we call the future potential evolutionary disk. Unmanifested is full of a lot of future potentials. And she has this, and she's going to share this with you all this night. And after it's done, we're going to come back and explain a little bit about it, because this is going to be turned on for everyone at the Great Global Healing Party in 2026. So we're going to percolate a little bit of information about that. So this is another quickie. There's a melodic sound, a blah blah sound, a very quick kind of bloop bloop bloop, and it's done. Okay, here we go. All right, dearest beings of light, that silence at the end was taking y'all off the human consciousness grid, old, unmanifested, future, quantum potential disk, and onto the new. Okay, so that's an unmanifested level. And why would that get upgraded? And why is the quantum evolutionary entanglement disk of pre-manifested energy upgraded, but not the manifest one at the Great Shift? Because you are seeing it from the inside Taurus perspective. When you Mobius flip outside to your outer Taurus, what sounds logical, like manifest, unmanifest, pre-manifest, manifest, is in reverse. It's manifest, pre-manifest, unmanifest. So, the unmanifest here matches and goes to the unmanifest here. And this is for those who see between the black pyramid and the white pyramid. And that gets upgraded at the Great Shift because of all the changes at the creational energy level for the grids. And it is for future setups and future evolution. Because one of the other things that happens at the Great Shift is you start to become in a quantum entanglement soul group healing paradigm. So, in the past, you were in Lemuria, it was wonderful, there was beautiful stuff, la 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 la, Egypt, Renaissance, la 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 la. Some little things in between there, but not much. Then the fall, Egypt, and then blah, 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 till now, and a lot of stuff on the human consciousness grid. And that old energy is old energy. And this one had a thought, so we're just going to give her a moment to get out of the way. So, that is an old energy, and that was there to allow a certain level of healing to go on through the human consciousness grid. And at the Great Shift, there are upgrades given to be able to, so in the past, oh, here we go. So you gathered all this stuff up till now at the Great Shift. You carried all this heavy load of all of this unhealed energy on the human consciousness grid at your collective level in every human being. That changes at the Great Shift. You don't have to do that anymore. A system goes into place in which you, at the soul group level, out in the greater field, and in the interface at the individual upgrades between the white, yellow, and blue-green healing layer, you are now in a new healing system where you quantumly, through entanglement, heal as you go along through the rest of your planetary evolution. Everyone breathe a sigh of relief. Do you imagine how different that's going to make everything for you compared to the other side? So this is a profound, profound planetary time of change. And it is a blessing. And it is filled with potentials and upgrades. As we've said, there are only 15 great global healing parties for these pre-setups to get this whole grid machinery working. And this one said, well, I know it takes a minimum of 125, and for real good woodwork, a minimum of 225 to heal and do this work. And we told her, no, because these videos are going to be there for everyone that continues to watch them. So even though only so many showed up, over time, the video will build, and in quantum entanglement, those people in the future are still back here now. That's what it's like for us. Everything, everywhere, all at once, like that movie. Okay, so we just wanted to explain that for some people who went, how could we possibly be doing this? Because there's a couple people doing that. And so that's a beautiful paradigm. And that has a lot to do with the women's work. Okay, so that's why this was given to a particular group of people that were here and shared. Because the women, with the connection for that, should you choose to go forward in your mission, or you feel the call, or whatever your own work is, or whatever is going on at all these other levels, there's a reason why you have that today. And everyone in 2026 will get it on the Great Global Healing Party. I believe it'll be the June Solstice one. So we're going to give a little teaser about 2026 ahead. 2025, you're going to heal the religious construct of I have to be perfect. 2020, December solstice, did I say that right? 2025 equinox is healing the religious construct of you have to be perfect to evolve. 2025 winter solstice is healing, it's a really strange open paradigm, any excuse for why I can't evolve. And there's actually an energy of that. And then there's a lot of juicy stuff that's going to happen at the end of 2025. And this is why we asked this one to mention Dr. Todd Ovakaitis' work, because it's profound. And she doesn't plan on going, but she will be there. And that's a very weird thing to try to figure out. Okay, so so then we go into 2026. And the healing themes for 2026 are actually disharmonies between men and women. Again, because we did some in the 2024 year. But these are different. These are on a different level. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But there are similar things. And one way to look at 2026 in the Great Global Healing Party is half of the year is a whole new set of alignments, and the other half of the year is a whole new set of activations. And this brings you forward into the space so that you all, and this, remember, this is being put on the human consciousness grid, and should souls choose to, they turn it on for people now. I mean, this paradigm is much juicier and real time and intelligent and oscillating than you can imagine. So some people who hear these tapes are going to have stuff turned on right away. Some people's souls are going to turn stuff on that they received later in another incarnation. It's individual and unique for everyone. And I don't know if I finished that sentence, but even though there's 15 healings, there's 36 levels of activations and alignments that are given individually to people who listen to these tapes or recordings or come live beyond what is said in the video, that those are unique for their own soul. And we've described the Great Global Healing Party as a soul kitchen. Come on in and put an order up to your soul and ask your soul, what is it you want me to have? And just receive. Okay, so we have one other thing we would like to share. In the Great Global Healing Parties, in 2026, there's going to be another new level that you will heal in. And this one didn't know about it because we told her just today that it would be the same. But this level wasn't mentioned to her because it doesn't start till 2026, January, and it is a quantum entanglement level. And it will involve the first chakra in healing. And she's already like, oh, goody. And I'm going to tell you why. We just get out of the way. She doesn't like to be used as an example. She had an experience where there were some men working. They've been trying to do some house stuff and, that domestic activities of daily living and upkeep of life that was acquired at the material level. And it was a busy day. There were a lot of interruptions. And she had the car keys. And at some point, they didn't know where they went. And this is unusual for her. She's not that kind of a person. She's not a forgetful person or spacey person or loses things all the time person. And she couldn't find them. And she thought, well, maybe I'm not supposed to have them. Maybe if I get in that car, that would not work out right now. I don't know why this is happening. But the interesting thing is why they were trying to remember where it was, she started to get pictures of everything that she ever had a picture of where those keys were around in various memories within her recorded Akash. She figured that's what was going on at one point, finally, because she thought, this is just really different. I've never had this, and it's really new. And that's exactly what was going on. It was like her soul higher self was giving her a bunch of pictures all at once, flashing them by, hoping one of them was the one where it would be. And it was purposeful for an experience. And she had it. And she was like, I hope that is not the quantum entanglement future. And it's not. And so that is what is upgraded up until now. and 2026. So that's the reason why some of what we turned on today for the live group here, for her work will not be turned on for other people until 2026, so that she and actually some of the other people that came who are healers are going to work through those layers. And that gets recorded on the human consciousness grid as being a soul group intention, because you're entering a quantum real-time living entanglement state and everything's starting to talk to each other. So the metaphor we just gave you was an example of everything talking to each other. And that just needs a little bit more alignment and putting it in place. And in June 2026, there will be new upgrades to the Akashic Remembrance, which she just saw us do some pre-stuff on some YouTube series that are being posted. The first two are up already, the latest ones. Okay, this was a long, lengthy, very esoteric, very quantum, very not much in real time, practical to help you. But there is something that is there. And we're going to ask this one to post the first 4 videos of the series with the breathing exercise. And that's what we'd like to leave you with this night. She's been doing it, and we've said the magnetic grid is going to shift upshift again, and time might get a little more intense. And this breathing exercise, she already knows, slowed her time down. She was like, oh my gosh, everything is so different. I feel like I'm walking in a completely different space. So she's decided she's going to keep doing that breathing exercise. It's very simple. And there's some intentions for you to do it at night. And you're going to learn some new things. I think most all of you. Okay. Thank you for your support of this work, for this one and for us. Know that you are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do. And we bid you adieu. And perhaps we will see you in the next Great Global Healing Party in September. Peace to you, and we bid you adieu. And this one's like, nope, don't turn off the tape. Okay, let's get her back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so I would like to put a couple little things at the end for everyone. First, I'd like to thank everyone for coming and for hearing the call to this work and for supporting it, because the more of us that get together, the more people that do it, the deeper into the layers between the noosphere and the center of the earth get cleared, and the faster the complex moves off the human consciousness grid. And I believe with this 50-year quantum entanglement window of everything speeding up for large groups of complexes to really be moved is why a lot of us will come together and form larger groups so that we can really do this and scrub it down. Eliane says the work, if you get to the level of 5,000 people just to try to clear some of these grids, if you can move up to that level of people engaged, she says the work at that level starts to become divine. Oh, I'd like to have that experience. Okay, so this should be up on the Great Global Healing Party right away. September equinox is the next. Now, if you listen to all of these Great Global Healing Parties, there is something within them. There is the ability to do soul healing intention at night. So when we have these at the group level, and if you've done everything up till now, you can go back and re-listen. Doesn't matter. Just get back. If this is your first one, go back in and listen to them. You can just go to the healing part and do that. You don't have to listen to all my blah, blah, blah unless you want to. And work your way through those, because you get the setups to be able to do this. So an intention would be, and I'm going to put it below this on the comments section for people to grab, because some people want those exact words until they learn it. You want to say, ask your soul, I ask my soul this night to heal at the individual level that which you healed at the group level this day. O soul and creator, heal this night at the individual level that which you healed at the group level this day. So before you go to sleep tonight, that's a great intention. Okay, everyone, I have no idea how long we've been. Oh my gosh, very long. Okay, this is the longest one ever. So I'll sign off. Peace to everyone, and I